by Vince Cercia gets us underway at Subiaco Oval. The Eagles going left to right in the first quarter. Everett wins the first hit out in a bounce that favoured him. Robert Harvey near the ball, but taken off it, overrun by Cousins. Everett barges through the pack, gets it going St Kilda's way. Cousins after it, a head-on collision. Nobody's had a possession yet. Eventually a hand pass is beautiful, and it puts the Eagles out in front. Holmes, inside 50. Free kick to the Eagles. Heady interfered with.
He's the sort of quality, Drew, they look forward to bringing back into this side. It's just played the 2 games so far, so very fresh at the moment. And coming in, being shepherded out of the contest. Ashley McIntosh lining up at centre-half forward for West Coast with McKenna at full-back.
Heady across the half-forward line. They're further away from goal now than when he had it. Michael Gardner threads the hand pass through. It's great football. Waterman's hand pass is not too good, puts Wooden under the pump. Gardner again's given it straight up. Little Aussie Jones couldn't go anywhere. Banfield's given it up to the opposition. What's happening here? Subiaco eventually finds a teammate, and the Saints clear through Lappin up towards half forward. Reed did well. Holmes puts Morrison out in the clear. Morrison a good hand pass to Banfield. And the Eagles move forward again. Drew Banfield off the left to the 50. But on that occasion, McIntosh caught behind. Wakeland takes the mark. Oh, geez, put it to Cripps, who was under pressure from Lewis, and they've lost it. Scrappy start to this game. Kick towards the 50. Beckett clears out of defence for the Saints. Ball comes to the front to Harvey. He rolls through the middle, like the Rolls-Royce that he is. The ball gets behind the defence, but Peter Matera's there. Good shepherd by Guy McKenna. What a kick by Matera to Gardner. Gardner in 40 metres of space. Oh, poor kick by Gardner, straight over Gehrig's head, and the ball out at centre wing.
Yeah, wasted possession there. They had players free, Waterman in front of him, and he could have gone long. Lewis was leading behind. It's a pretty tough temperature to play footy in. Very dry heat, no humidity really to speak of.
And the Saints players were getting the cold spray just before the game. The fans were in operation on the interchange bench. Everett to Wakeland, back to Harvey. Kick by Robert Harvey over the wing.
Well, if the field kicking doesn't improve, Drew, they'll be getting the hot spray from their coach at quarter time. In fact, Ross, a couple of games over the weekend, the field kicking has been well and truly down.
Skills are down, I think, generally across the competition at the moment, Jared.
Free kick went to Metropolis, and the Eagles go forward. Young for St Kilda. Both teams have turned the ball over a lot. Daniel Healy to full forward. Heatley is there. McKenna gets support from Peter Matera, who just burns them off. What a sight he is. Almost lost to the club to Melbourne in the off-season, but he stayed. Cousins to centre wing. Gehrig has taken more marks in the competition than anyone. Everett, good clash of bodies with Gardner. Waterman comes backwards to Morrison. And prominent early has been Todd Holmes. The 2 number 1s playing on each other, Heady and Peckett. Wooden. Holmes a little fumble. I think he had it spent before he got it. And the kick by Holmes over the head of Phil Matera. McIntosh knocks the ball on. It's all the Eagles. Heady taps further. But Wakeland out of defence. Shane Wakeland.
No talking there whatsoever, Drew, between the West Coast forwards. There's a perfect chance for either Phil Matera or McIntosh to take that mark. None of them going for it, so it sits in between. Now St Kilda clear the ball away.
Winmar through half-back. Gee, it's a poor kick. Straight to the opposition. Wooden takes the mark. Into Peter Matera. Up from half-back. Thumps it long to full forward. Beautiful kick. Cousins.
Well, Jared, his spotting in the last couple of minutes with his kicking's been spot on compared to what it has been in the past 3 weeks.
Well, this is a fantastic positional kick, and good work by Ben Cousin, who has a great ability to get by himself. He just got some space between himself and his man in Matthew Young, and increased that space by fading backwards. And Young, who was on the fly trying to back up Nicky Winmar, was caught out of bounds because of the pretty errant turnover.
Cousins from 25 metres out for the first goal of the game. Hits the post.
And Ross, I was talking to you before the match, and you suggested that Max Hudson would get the job on Fraser Gehrig, and that's exactly how it's lined up. So St Kilda have really asked Max to step up in his craft, and he now gets most of the big jobs across that full-back line.
He's got the physical strength to match it with Gary. He's just got to make sure he matches it in positional movement.
Wakeland looking for Everett. Good spoil by Gardner. It comes to the front to Cripps. A lot of height, not much distance with that kick. And an excellent mark taken by Lappin. Robert Harvey through the middle. The reigning Brownlow medalist. He goes to Heatley at full forward. At the back, Reid, his first season, and he's done well. Spoiled by Lappin was good. Good hands by the first gamer, ground level, Ben Thompson. A centering kick. Cook made a contest of it. McKenna at ground level. And look at the space here for Wood. He can run it almost just half forward. Good chase by Winmar, made him get rid of it. Oh, Cousins again.
The same thing again, Jared, almost a carbon copy of the previous pass he received, just dropping back. The ball's going to carry a lot further today. And Aussie Jones just very select to try and get back there. Was too far in front of him, about 5 metres, and as soon as Cousins turned, his pace just let him get away. As you see there, Aussie Jones almost 15 metres away as the ball came over his head.
And Cousins hit the post last time. This time, no mistake.
Well, their damaging setup, Jared, from half-back's been very good. Their ability to run the ball through the middle of the field, through the material. That time's Josh Wooden, and then their kick over 40 or 50 metres, unimpeded by no breeze. The ball's going to carry a bit further in these conditions. They've been spot on.
Well, it was interesting to watch Jones trying to pick up Ben Cousins. It's not his direct opponent, but he was certainly in charge of him under that occasion.
Yep.
The ball was coming through his opposite charge, but he needed to put in some quicker spaces earlier.
And back in the middle, umpire David Ackland to bounce. Well, Everett favoured again. Thumps the ball out of the centre square. Flip back to Cripps. Long to full forward. Heatley's been out of touch.
It's where they're breaking down, Drew. McKenna and the other half-backers of Reid. Material have really been bottling them up in that 30-metre area outside goal for St Kilda.
Terrific mark there by Philip Reid. Here's Ben Thompson playing his first game in the AFL at the age of 24. And there's a free kick to Mitchell at centre-half forward. And so he's hurt him.
Well, Reid just came from behind, Jared, didn't he, just to affect that spoil?
I think that was entitled to hurt him.
Well, there was a very similar incident yesterday, Drew, at the MCG, paid as a 50-metre penalty, but that one was so split second that I think the umpire has erred on the right side and allowed it to just progress as a mark. But there's a pretty good mark to Reid, who's had a fine start to his fledgling AFL career.
So the chance for St Kilda's first score. Gavin Mitchell to the goal square.
Some indecision there, Drew.
Still there for the Saints, but hacked out of there. Peckett worked very hard. It's gone out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in.
It's an interesting one here, Jared. Why he had two leads in Heatley and Everett, then he decides to go long to two non-marking type players in Beveridge and Harvey.
Well, it's up to the side, the midfield in particular, St Kilda, to adjust to the fact that they haven't got Stuart Lowe playing. Spider Everett wasn't down there. And often you used to see Geelong play as if they had Gary Ablett there when he was absent. They're just kicking the ball long bombs to the square, which didn't work.
Jones did well to find Sirakoski. Inside half forward. Reid working in front of the pack. And he'll get a free kick.
Well, he didn't really have it, Drew. He was the ball spilled free very quickly and was tackled by two St Kilda players and forced to the ground. And I think 50-metre penalty now. So it's going to take Reid almost up to the centre circle area. Umpire David Ackland in charge in that situation. I'm not sure if it was directly against Gavin Mitchell, but he'll be the player to stand the mark.
Reid, 4 possessions already. His pass is intercepted by Lappin. And all of a sudden, defence turned into attack for the Saints. Lappin goes long. And he gives Heatley a chance. It's Cook. I'll have another crack. It's Daniel Healy.
Yes, he was always going to have the height advantage there on Todd Holmes as the ball came back, and Lappin did the right thing. He was on his left-hand side initially, but came back inboard to use his right to get more depth with the kick. And there's no question that Healy had to sit there with height and the flight of the ball. Holmes couldn't push back hard enough on him.
Todd Holmes looks like a young Bluey McKenna.
He does a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Perhaps a little bit taller.
So Healy for St Kilda's first score. A goal. The Saints to within a point after the marking goal by Daniel Healy, who celebrates his 24th birthday today. And in ruck, Peter Everett, who also celebrates his 24th today. Happy birthday, boys.
Thank you, Drew.
And past Gardner, out to Cousins. Cousins kick. Well done by Wakeland. Thrashed the ball out of there. Didn't really clear the area. Still a chance for the Eagles. Lewis, and taken over the line.
Yeah, Shane Wakeland again, Drew. Just two good defensive efforts. He's got the job to pick up McIntosh with Hudson on Gehrig, the two tall half forwards as such. You see the official AFL website on screen there.
And you can follow the game and get the stats as the game is in progress. Ball jolted out of Wakeland's hands, but he did well, Shane Wakeland. Zirakoski. He's the umpire had the whistle poised. He was almost holding the ball, and now it's an Eagles free kick to Jakovic. Out wide to Lewis.
He's officially started at full forward. I mentioned with both Gehrig and McIntosh out across that 50-metre line.
McIntosh. Scored by Darryl Wakeland. Good hands. Lappin put in the clear again. Nicky Winmar. Oh, sensational by Reid. Across the half-forward line for St Kilda. Metropolis gets back there for the Eagles. Look at the pace of Peter Matera. It was pace that got him there, and it set up this play. Fantastic stuff. Lovell. Heady gets underneath the ball. Gibb on the McIntosh. Open goal.
Well, it's terrific overlap footy by West Coast here. Again, breaking away from half-back Jerry. They just set that up again with Matera, Metropolis. And Matera again going to the second longer option that he had in front of him rather than the shorter one.
We just have a look at it on replay. Such an essential quality is quick hands and surety of handball. And there you see one of the tallest men in the game in Fraser Gehrig with so much pace and so much dexterity. Just outlines why he's such a talented player and such a valuable forward for the West Coast Eagles. Getting it onto Ashley McIntosh, who can play it both sides
similar types, aren't they?
Of the ground, both ends of the ground. And Cook is on for the Saints, so Beveridge was benched.
Here's Cripps dashing out of the centre. Inside half forward. Punch to the front. Still a chance for St Kilda. A hand off to Winmar. That came from Healy. Mitchell seems to have recovered. Harvey pops it out wide for Healy, who might get his second. And he's kicked it well. Great goal.
Well, again, Robert Harvey just working well in close, Jared. He's got the attentions of Banfield. I thought they might try and rotate someone. Jared, just talking before off air. Would you try and rotate players on a regular basis off Harvey because of his running capacity?
Well, I think you'd have to, Ross, because he's just such a gifted athlete as far as endurance is concerned. I think we rarely see a player of such athletic ability. Perhaps McGuinness and Bradley in recent years have had the similar endurance capacities.
The Saints back to within a point again after Healy has kicked both of their goals. It comes out of the middle from Morrison. Philip Matera with Zilla. Matera goes to ground. Zilla kept his footing. That was well played and a clever kick. He changed stride in mid-air. Peter Matera. Banfield. Awkward for McIntosh. Heady's there. Cousins in some doubt with a hip injury coming into the game. Virtually had to take his place. They ran out of players. Wakeland goes wide to Ozzie Jones. He lopes down the outer wing. Into Sirakoski. Oh, drops an absolute sitter. Now inside the 50. Heatley underneath the ball. And a comfortable mark at the back to Bluey McKenna.
He's got to push back harder in that situation. He really has to work hard with his legs to push back into the player behind. McKenna will beat him every time in that situation.
And I wonder, Ross, whether or not he wouldn't be better off starting deeper in the goal
right in the square. Yep, true.
Two possessions each to Morrison and Jakovic back there. Darryl Wakeland dropped the mark. Daniels walks it over the line for throw-in.
He probably got sucked forward a bit on that occasion because Subiaco, the genuine centre-half forward today at the moment, was right up the ground. So Adrian Barrett's on the boundary.
Ross, just a couple of matchups for you again. Josh Wooden's got the job on Aussie Jones on the wing, and Chad Morrison playing in the centre, which he hasn't been doing, on Gavin Mitchell.
That's Jason Cripps for St Kilda, up towards centre wing. It's punched down by Healy. Has had a great start on his birthday. Mitchell threads out a beautiful hand pass to the other birthday boy, Spider Everett, charging through the middle. Could he kick this? It's a monster! It's a great kick! Oh!
Deserved better, really, Drew.
Well, it's a pretty fast and flat track at the present time, Ross. I reckon you wouldn't hesitate to open the batting here if you were that way inclined, but this is just brilliant conditions for skills of the game, and it's just a matter of how long the players can keep this pace up.
That's the difficult thing, isn't it,
in
Jared?
the heat.
Yep, exactly. Quick change too. Todd Holmes off and Paul Simmons on for his first run. Good kick. Look at this.
Distance and accuracy. Lovell marks. And just on the ground, Simmons. To half forward, McIntosh. His path to the ball might have been interrupted there by Wakeland. There's no whistle, ball out of play.
And another change to Cripps coming off for St Kilda and Beveridge on again.
Gee, they'll work the changes today in this heat. Gehrig nudged underneath the ball, wanted a free kick. Ball helped on by Banfield. Good defence by Shane Wakeland. And here's the first game of Ben Thompson to centre wing. Peter Matera, he goes to ground. Subiaco for St Kilda. He's back home, a Perth boy. Oh, look at Matera's pace on Mitchell. And Mitchell had to interfere with him, gave up the free kick.
Well, he just forced his way through there with pure pace, but also, I think, Ross, enthusiasm. I think Peter Matera has been down the last couple of weeks, maybe 3, has got a bit to prove this afternoon.
Yes, I'd suggest that his last 3, Jared, he's had Jason Norris from the Dockers, he's had John Stevens at Sydney, and then Nathan Bower last week. He's really been below his best, and has been, I think, under pressure this week to pull one out of the hat, and he started off very well, although Adrian said he's pretty crook early.
St Kilda have gone a different tack, though. They've gone with Matthew Lappin, who's more of an offensive player, probably trying to take him away for the ball, whereas those other 3 clubs that you talked of basically went with defensive types.
Correct, yep, and genuinely defensive wingman types.
So Heady after the mark, kicks for goal from 50 metres out. What a kick.
Well, he's such a critical player for West Coast in terms of goal kicking. 218 career goals coming into this match just in 142 games. You know that he's a player who can kick you 3 or 4 off a flank, take a courageous mark, but more importantly, read the game so well and give you something to kick to, or create space for the bigger fellas behind him. And he's finishing off, opposed to Daniels there, very good.
Well, both teams made changes when Heady was lining up for goal. Tony Brown's on for St Kilda, Schofield for the Eagles, and the resting Saints players are wearing the ice vests. Everett knocks out of the middle to Wooden. Back he goes to Schofield. Simmons. Wide for Heady. 2 kicks to goal.
Drew, just saying, Jared, looking at that centre bounce, no one really matched up one-on-one, did they? They all sat off each other.
And that's the way it has been for the majority of the match. Mick Malthouse has already made a change.
Oh, Gehrig. Just through for a minor score.
Yes, Mick Malthouse has made a change with Daniel Healy getting a couple of early goals. He's pushed Chad Morrison from the midfield back to his spot that he did so well last year of a half-back flank.
Look at Justin Peckett. Couldn't get more space on a footy field than he got for that kick out. Takes it almost to the wing. He backs himself against McKenna and wins. Well played by Peckett. And all of a sudden he's got it to half forward. Here's Ben Thompson, number 21. A 24-year-old recruit making his debut. Saints' 2nd pick in the October draft. He came from Glenelg. And there's the ice vest on Jason Cripps. And I reckon they'll be putting their hand up for a quick interchange here today.
Well, they're doing another one with Aussie Jones, who's yet to have an impact on the game, is being replaced. And it's interesting to see that Nicky Winmar is positioned at full forward at the moment with Heatley pushing up the ground.
Cousins. Out at centre wing. Heady applying the tackle. Jack Daniels gets it away from him. Healy, who started well, back to Daniels. Inside 50. Heatley pushed out, no whistle. Well played, McKenna. Then he's crunched by Heatley, and McKenna will get the free kick.
Joe McLaren came on to replace Austin Jones. And Aussie Jones is another player that has just struggled in his early part of the season, getting a lot more attention, particularly just pure negative attention.
I think Guy McKenna's in a problem with either a shoulder or an elbow behind the plate.
The Eagles have got it back to half forward. It's flipped through the pack to Simmons. Over he goes on the 50. Ball hurriedly back to Schofield. Well done, Wakeland.
Heatley being taken off, Drew. McKenna to follow him to the bench. That's why they're down there at the moment.
Ben Thompson going all right in his first game.
There's a problem with Guy McKenna's right shoulder, no question. He couldn't put it up there to take that mark. Just went up with one hand, the left. You're in that situation because Heatley's been taken from the ground.
Well, already. Oh, beautiful mark by Gary. So the Eagles could be in a bit of bother here if McKenna has to go off. They're already without a list of players. Had to come in without Worsfold, White. They're playing all right.
And these two players we mentioned before, if Garrick initially took that mark, he's averaging about 9 a game. Fraser Garrick leading the league with Stewie Lowe, who's not playing today, but McIntosh will enjoy this roll up forward. Needs Darryl Wackland to be right with him.
And it does look as if Michael Gardner has been charged with running everywhere with Peter Everett, because Everett's now at full forward, centre half forward, that space in the middle. Gardner's well and truly out of the place, sitting beside him.
I see McIntosh nearly back in the crowd.
This is good play.
Clever play, yep. Came from outside 50, Drew, yep. Yeah, well spotted, Jerry. Just took off completely Banfield, just Metropolis, I should say. Just no one picking him up outside the 50 and just cleverly ran into the space 20 metres from goal.
Well, no one could recognise him with those extra long locks.
Hasn't played for so long. It's his first game back for the year.
An interesting Jason Heatley coming off the ground just midway through this first term. He just does seem to be all out of sorts at the present time, and Stan Els has been only too willing to whip him off the ground.
I think there's any question there would have been some consideration at the selection table this week whether they should have played him or not because of the sort of form he's been in.
Metropolis for goal, offline. Former Subiaco player, should know this ground all right. Six scoring shots to 3. Now a couple of injuries early, Barra.
Drew, Guy McKenna stayed on though. It seems he's hit his funny bone. You know when you hit your funny bone, your arm goes dead. That's what's happened, and it started to come good. So he stayed on the ground. Jason Heatley hurt a leg and is having his ankle strapped, so but not serious.
That's McLaren. Kicked it like a bag of wheat to the centre of the ground. Sirakoski gets the hand pass away, and fortunately had a teammate there, Young. Everett. Well done, Gardner, but he pushed him, and Everett the free.
A good play by Young to just forge his way through a pretty congested situation. And whilst the kick wasn't absolutely spot on, it was good enough to put some pressure on Michael Gardner, because Everett looked as if he was going to come up with a mark.
Yes, and Young played that spare man in defence last week with Beveridge, got plenty of touches, so he's in a bit of form.
And Spider Everett not without a chance, 52 metres out. Hoists it high with plenty of distance, but offline. Gee, got the distance okay.
And virtually no wind at all here at Subiaco, so both sides are going to be able to score in each of the 4 quarters.
Which you don't often see over here. You usually get a breeze of some description here.
Yeah, well, I hope they get one today, Drew, just for the sake of the players.
Yeah. You've never seen the interchange bench work so hard. Peter Matera just stopping the game, virtually calling for a timeout.
Well, possession is all that counts coming out of the defensive 50. It's these next kicks that really do count.
McKenna waited until he got an option. Everett did well to spoil Schofield. Well played, Spider. But Matera just gets back there with the broom, just sweeps it up.
Well, it's interesting. There was a turnover, but St.Kilda all zoning up further back, waiting to try and pull the ball from 50 metres away, but didn't anticipate the turnover.
So whatever it did wasn't in the plan. And free kick to Daniels.
And you've got to give due credit to Jason Daniels. He's a Really a workhorse that has continued to defy the critics and think that you have to be spot on with your kicking. And he's played a meaningful part in the Saints team over the last couple of years.
Well, Gardner's cleared a path for the opposition. Aussie Jones off the ground. Everett, good hands. They're only 25 metres out, the Saints. Ball flipped out. Brown. Well done, Lovell. Gardner back to Lovell. Now to a contest. And the first game of Thompson wrestling there with Simmons. McIntosh well down the ground. Hudson up the ground. Ben Thompson, number 21. He's had quite a bit of it.
And
5 possessions.
And great work by Max also, who's doing a great job on Fraser Gehrig. There's a big fly by Gardner, but the great thing about Hudson is he's prepared to take the front position, and Darryl Wakeland could well take a leaf out of his book, who is allowing McIntosh just to get that extra couple of yards too often in this first quarter.
There's no question when you see Gardner's jump again that if you allow McIntosh front position, then you're going to be in trouble because he's pretty quick.
Jakovic did well to spoil Sirakoski, but Sira has it. Gets it to Cripps, who had a short spell on the bench. Attempted second grabber there by Healy. Harvey puts it out in front of Healy, who's kicked 2. Wide to Aussie Jones. A centering kick. Everett.
Great setup. He turn around. He had Young free. Still hasn't seen him. It's terrible play. It's a really disgraceful thing to see in football. If a player, even though he thinks he's in range, you might only be 20 metres out. You must turn around and face the goals. There's always a chance that someone will be in a better position than you. In this situation, if Everett doesn't kick the goal, you'll get a spray from Matthew Young, I'd suggest.
I reckon he might have been coached by Ron Barassi.
He's opened up with 2 behinds, and he's finally kicked a goal.
No, in fact, I think that's year 10 stuff, I think.
Well, there's always one of Ron Barassi's great loves, and that was to spray anybody that didn't get back quickly and look forward to see if there was somebody closer to goal in a better position. But this is the sort of stuff, isn't it, from Aussie Jones, Ross, that the Saints do need.
No, it's probably his best effective touch for the game so far, just giving Everett a chance. And again, the work off half back by St.Kilda pretty good.
Aussie Jones with 5 possessions. The goals have come alternately. The Eagles would get one, the Saints would get one. The Eagles, Saints have replied. It's happened 3 times. In the middle, Sirakoski. They've lost control of the ball. Phil Matera with the outside of his foot. Cousins back to Heady. Run down by Winmar at full tilt. Kick by Lovell up inside the 50. Fraser Gehrig. Hudson dispossesses him with a great tackle. Play on, says the umpire. Lewis hand passes in, and Peckett had nowhere to go.
That's deliberate, Drew, went across the line.
Well, you're allowed to be
Good
deliberate
pressure,
if you give away a point.
Standell's having a crack at a player. I can't pick who it is. Jason Healy, we believe.
It'll be his first spray for the season, I don't think, for Jason Healy.
No, there does seem to be a little bit of growing friction between Stanells and his key forward from last year.
Well, Wakeland's kicked that a mile. And the siren for quarter time. And we have a real game on our hands here. The Eagles not having things all their own way in the hometown heat, and they lead by just 2 points.
Chad Morrison's gone to full forward for the West Coast Eagles up against Shane Wakeland, so he is getting a variety of opponents this afternoon.
Turnbull on the ball, goes in against Everett. Banfield off the ground, up to half forward. And McIntosh went straight past it, allowing Darryl Wakeland to clear for the Saints. To half forward, they've got a chance. The ball knocked on by Mitchell.
I'll tell you what, you mentioned the article in the footy record on Glenn Jakovic. The fellow who's done pretty well so far today is Sirakoski on him. He's either got possession himself or restricted what Jakovic has done. 3 and 3 for Jakovic, but nothing particularly creative at this stage.
2 and 3 for Sirakoski. Winmar. Healy having a big game, gets it back, and a shot for goal is through, and the Saints have hit the front. Jason Cripps.
That's good quick hands there by Nicky Winmar, particularly in the congestion. I'm not sure if he didn't throw it, but it's terribly nippy to get the ball across. So we see this again. Nicky's the one that wanted it the most, and it just passed the ball onto Healy, let it go. The umpire was in the wrong position. I thought they might have gone the other side of the post, but the umpire in best position. Definitely a goal there to Jason Cripps. Good start. He's an important player, Jason Cripps. Just gives him an extra running player. hard at it.
So the Saints up by 4 points, getting the first goal of the second quarter. Shocking bounce in the middle by David Ackman. And they should start again after that. Everett back towards the 50. McKenna dispossessed. And Sirakoski tackling hard. Robert Harvey, not his usual output today. Oh, Nicky, you dropped your head, son. Harvey, beautiful. Here's Cripps again. Tip round the ear. Got to be a free kick, umpire. I suppose he did stumble.
Yeah, I think that perhaps Cripps just stumbled a little bit, Drew, then was falling to the ground, and it's whether or not it constitutes ducking the head or not, I'm not sure.
You're still taking high, aren't you? You're still to give the free kick, and he's remonstrating with the umpire, but a good 1 and 2 there between Winmar and Harvey. Clever stuff.
Jakovic wins in ruck. Winmar lifting. Got a hand pass astray, but he was under plenty of pressure. They go backwards over the head of Daniels, allowing Heady in. Hudson gets back. The former Queenslander. Well done, Maxi. And he'll take a free kick. Now to Joe McLaren. One of 5 changes in the Saints side for this week. McLaren to half forward. Young gets under it. Good punch by Metropolis. Comes to Cousins. Well done, Young. Saints have started the term well. Winmar to an open forward line. It spills. Mitchell should go. Well, he wasted a great opportunity.
That's what he's there for, isn't he, Gerard? Just to get those front centre spills there to pick up and finish off as that creative 40 kick. 4 last week was their most productive forward, but that's a gimme for a fellow like that.
And he probably wasted a bit of an opportunity to continue on towards the goals. There was no one within 3 or 4 or 5 yards of him. He could have got some more momentum running straight at the goal umpire.
McKenna gets it back from Schofield. Schofield takes it back from McKenna. Hey, you're going this way, son.
Gone.
Oh, you're gone. Holding it.
And that's great team tackling there by the Saints. They didn't go at the body, they corralled him. Finally, Healy came up with a fantastic tackle.
Oh, what a kick by Healy! Number 3! Sensational goal. Oh, you'll be claiming him as a brother after that.
Claiming him as a father if he keeps that up.
What's interesting, as Gerard said in that first goal, they moved Morrison back out of the centre onto Healy because he was being dangerous. And now McKenna's got him. Guy McKenna not used to playing as a proper full-back here. Just to see, here's a play that came across the boot of Healy, but not able to stop that. That's a good 60-metre kick.
And that's what he does do well, and that is kick long bombs, Daniel Healy.
Well, Daniel Healy is having a day out here on his birthday. He laid the tackle, won the free kick, and goaled with a 60-metre kick from near the boundary line for his 3rd for the day. This is probably the best we've ever seen him at AFL level.
This fella's been good through in this quarter.
Hasn't he? Started this quarter brilliantly, Nicky Winmar, with the kick a bit wide on that occasion. And Latin saying just a bit lower.
Ross, interested in your comment regarding Guy McKenna playing on Daniel Healy more as a true defensive role now that he's been pinpointed as a full-back.
No question he prefers it on the 50-metre line so he can run on and not be as defensive as he has to be up that end of the ground. No question about that.
Pushed by Aussie Jones.
Andrew Donnelly on for his first run for West Coast, going into a pocket.
Wooden to Reid. McLaren overruns. Ball out of bounds.
Sure too, Drew, with the setup of having McIntosh and Gehrig as sort of co-half forwards there, doesn't take away the dominance that Gehrig's shown from a true centre-half forward position. He's now being pushed up to full forward, with Donnelly coming on. He can do some more of that running across half forward with McIntosh.
Drew Banfield goes for a gallop. And a beautiful pass to the centre of the ground to Morrison.
And this should be West Coast's first foray into their forward 50 this quarter if they get it there.
That's right. Outside the 50. And he's gone straight for the boundary line, Zilla, but he's not pinged for it. Great to see Stephen Zilla playing. And there's Phil Matera with the fan cooling players off on the interchange bench.
And again, Gerard, quite right. Max Hutchinson prepared to play in front. The reason why he got that ball towards the line.
Zilla. Cousins has got it. Zilla tackles him. No whistle, it'll be a ball up.
The action of the tackle causes the ball to spill for its play on. You asking for a free kick, Gerard?
No, I was just wondering whether or not it was. I wish John Russo was here to clarify that.
Oh, we'd be bluing for the next 2.5 quarters.
Yeah, you might have gone with Pryor.
Here's Mitchell back at half back. Well, luck's a fortune. It comes to Wakeland. Back to centre wing. Peter Matera punching from behind. Adrian Barrich.
Drew, I just wanted to go on with Ross's point. I think he made a very good point that McIntosh and Gehrig sort of cramped each other. Now Gehrig's had to suffer the fate of going to full forward, and Donnelly's on the half-forward flank. It's just not working.
Mitchell claims Djakovic's hit out. The ball finishes out of bounds.
I just think sometimes when you have to play a subordinate type role, which Gehrig's almost had to play today alongside McIntosh, you just lose your focus of where you are. When you are the person, the go-to man across half-forward, it's such a different setup.
The Eagles haven't scored in this quarter. St Kilda have added 2 goals, 1. Banfield to Reid. Peter Matera. Here's a marvellous player to watch.
Hasn't Jason Daniels done a pretty good job after Brett Heady got the first goal for the West Coast? He really has closed down on him.
A great kick straight out to Wakeland. Shane Wakeland just behind the wing. Slipped Cousins' tackle. All Eagles here, Metropolis.
Wasted possession, Drew.
It was, and it was the pressure from Cousins that put Wakeland in 2 minds, so effectively they got it back anyhow.
Peter Matera's delivery to Heady, absolutely phenomenal. Well, he's had 10 kicks, Peter Matera. What a game. Heady to the 50. Gee, they just slaughtered Blakes in that pack. And Wakeland's down hurt for St Kilda. Harvey clears for the Saints to the centre of the ground. Sirakoski got a hand to it. Mitchell. Djakovic for the Eagles.
Wakeland's out.
Yep, and this is his team. This is his opponent, I should say, is free. Wakeland got 1 from behind and 1 in front. Donnelly goes short to McIntosh.
Lovell's free.
Well, it's just put St Kilda in total disarray here at the moment, while Darryl Wakeland is down and out.
Yeah, through no fault of his own, they're now playing 1 short in that back half, and that's why the Eagles had these free players.
We have another look at the way this occurred.
From behind and then from the front as well.
Yeah, I think it was the second one.
Yeah, looked as though Donnelly might take the bigger knock out of that one, but it was the man who came over the pack late who collected Darryl Wakeland. Good to see him on his feet. I think he'd better come off.
Yeah, I think they're signalling they've got to wait till he does go off the ground. See this again. So from behind he gets collected by Donnelly, who was trying to protect himself, and then I'm not sure the player coming over the top might have just copped a knee there. Is that Chris Waterman maybe?
I thought it might have been Lovell. Another look, yeah, Lovell.
Lovell, well done.
Well, he's certainly very groggy, Darryl Wakeland. So you don't need this on a hot day. And Adrian Barrich is coming towards you.
He's coming straight at me, and should have been a stretcher job, I reckon, but he's been hit in the nose too. Looks like he's broken his nose, and very, very groggy. I think he thinks he's at the beach, actually. It's that warm. All the smart players around the ground, Drew, too, are going into the shade to wait, like Nicky Winmar has jogged over to the boundary to wait out of the sun. But I don't think you'll see Wakeland again.
Well, Brett Cook has come onto the ground, but the other 3 interchange players for St Kilda were all upstanding as if any one of them was going to come onto the ground.
It's a bit of a ploy that every now and then, Jared, isn't it? Because some coaches are using, so it just confuses the opposition brains trust.
Well, McIntosh gets the goal. And it was a long wait in between Ashley McIntosh taking the mark and having his kick for goal, but he's kicked 2.
As I mentioned before, now they're swapping around. McIntosh and Gehrig are now making that change. So Gehrig comes out to centre half forward. McIntosh goes to the square. And we see there Wakeland in a bit of trouble there, just being attended to by a doctor. As Adrian Barrett said, copping on the comp. With a broken nose.
So Darryl Wakeland gets some treatment on the bench. That could be a crucial moment in the game, because when he was down and out, the Saints' defence was in disarray, and it allowed McIntosh to take the mark and kick the goal. The Eagles' first goal for the quarter.
And the change also made by Stan Ells. Cook's gone to centre half forward, being picked up by Djakovic, and Max Hutchinson's gone back to full back on McIntosh.
Lappin kicks to centre half forward, gets through the pack. Wooden at the back, the youngster from country New South Wales. Djakovic and heaps of bother. Here's a chance for St Kilda. Aussie had it spent before he got it. Oh, the kick didn't reach the target. Beautifully smothered by Schofield. He picked out the right man in Banfield. This is great play by the Eagles. Just as it looked as though St Kilda were going to set up a shot for goal, here comes Cousins. But he blazed for the goal square, didn't kick the distance, and Hodgson marks in defence.
I'm sure he tried to bring it back at you, drew it round to the front of the square. In fact, it's not Hodgson who's gone to full back, it's Subiaco. In fact, Hodgson has stayed with Gehrig. Not a good kick though by Cousins, no question.
And Gehrig has pushed out the centre half forward, but we saw two kicks there really blow chances. Aussie Jones on the left foot was smothered, and that probably saved the West Coast Eagles a goal because the Saints were off and running.
The ruck work was done by Mitchell. McLaren did well. Jakovic gets away from Cook. Oh, gives it straight up. Cripps has been good and kicked a goal in this quarter. Oh, well done, Lappin. He's on a tough man in Peter Matera and beats him. Great kick by Lappin.
Well, he's called play on, Drew, and then he had to get around Matera, which he did. That was a beautiful kick.
Well, he's 50 to 1 on to kick this the way he's been kicking, Healy, but he centres the ball. Peckett caught behind. He had no hope with Turnbull in front. Oh, Winmar. Nicky, well played. But Wooden for the Eagles clears. Well done, Josh Wooden, a cool head.
My word, because Winmar did very well to get out of that difficult situation, but gave it just a little soft one over the top to the opposition. Just look at this, Winmar goes to ground, but still gives the presence of mind. He was looking for Peckett. Just too far for that play.
On the 50. It's palmed down to the front. Kick by Beveridge. Running out of room, Jones. Healy. Back to Aussie. Oh, how do you like this? A great goal, Aussie Jones.
That's a sensational goal, Jared, isn't it?
That was just pure class from Austin. And he needed something like that also because he has made a couple of mistakes today. He's also done some brilliant things, but he is just looking for a little bit more consistency. But it's these things that separate Aussie Jones from your average mortal. He is a superman.
Coming off the boundary line.
Gee, we're running up some candidates for goals of the year. Whether you like the 5-bounce run or the impossible goal from the boundary line in the pocket. Phil Matera. And St Kilda have moved away from the Eagles in this second quarter. The Saints on fire here. That's a fiery temperature. Harvey, that wasn't a great hand pass. He was in no position to take that, but wins the footy anyway. Banfield, caught by McLaren. Phil Matera, poor old kick to the 50.
Trying to be too precise. Just getting under it. Well, one thing the Eagles have to watch is St Kilda now the most proficient side or efficient side in going inside 50. The least number of disposals they need once they get in there to kick goals. They're showing that again today.
But the Eagles have a chance here until Daniel's got it to Harvey. At 40 possessions last week, he'll have to lift the rate a bit today to match that. He goes further across half-back to Hodgson. Good kick. Mitchell.
The Saints really going with a mobile side. They've got Aussie Jones just about playing as a mobile centre-half forward at the moment.
Nicky Winmar. Couldn't quite. Oh, well played the first game of Thompson to Cook. Dispossessed. Well, Peter Matera covering lines. Kick astray. Guy McKenna had to go back for it. Heatley's back on the ground for the Saints. And he rolls over the line out of bounds. St Kilda have kicked 3 goals to 1 in this quarter. And they lead by 11 points at the moment, and we're midway through the second term at Subiaco Oval. So how about that?
Sorry, Drew, a big man change to Turnbull off and Gardner into the ruck, as you see there against Everett.
Brett Cook continually taking Glenn Jakovic right away from his preferred centre-half back position. And if you'd like to see how many kicks that Glenn Jakovic has got this season, just look up www.afl.com.au on your website.
Today he's had 6 and 3, Glenn Jakovic. Everett wins in ruck.
Get all that, Ross?
Morris.
Yeah, I've just written it down again.
Banfield. And off Metropolis, and the ball out of Donnelly, and the ball out of play. St Kilda won here last year against the Eagles by 16 points. It was their only win in Perth against the Eagles in 9 tries. And at the moment, they're setting themselves up for a real tip at beating them twice in a row.
Well, it was Harvey versus Banfield in the ruck.
Yep.
And a great smother, a first-class smother from Gavin Mitchell.
Oh, what's free kick for over the shoulder. And Mitchell pointed at the umpire and has given him a mouthful. Not sure why he was free kicked. It looked like a perfect smother. And this might get through the goals. It does. An unbelievable kick by Andrew Donnelly.
Well, a slightly mystifying decision, no question, against Mitchell down here on the wing. The tackle, the umpire saying he got him around the neck. On replay, he definitely did do that. So the left arm of Mitchell was around the shoulder of Banfield. A terrific effort in the first place to make up for the mistake he made earlier by giving the free kick away to Reed. And then Donnelly just getting the fortuitous kick along here. Good shepherd by McIntosh. And Shane Wakeland not the pace to keep up with Donnelly.
Well, the Eagles have got 2 goals in this quarter. One was when Wakeland was down and knocked cold, and the other one after somewhat of a controversial free kick played on centre wing. Winmar's had a terrific second quarter. Jones, what a goal he kicked a few minutes ago. He sets it up. Everett, fronts the pack. Lappin, just offline.
The important thing from St.Kilda's point of view is they continue to trouble the West Coast and put pressure on them whenever they go forward. And the defensive 6 of West Coast are continually under pressure physically and also on the scoreboard.
What about Shane Wakeland on Donnelly? Ross, do you think that there's a
Lacks
problem?
that mobility? Yep.
He's also been dragged up to centre-half back where his brother generally plays.
Gee, Ben Thompson can play. Now, Ben Thompson, making his debut, having come over in the draft last year from Glenelg, and he set that up for Peter Everett. Not a bad sort of a debut.
When he stands tall like that and someone hasn't had a chance to jump from behind, very difficult to spoil the ball. You've almost got to go for his arms, Guy McKenna, and try and punch the arms, try and break the marking attempt there.
But the key was that he got to that position, that dangerous spot 40 metres out from goal, 1 out. Gardner didn't track him down into the forward line, and here he is shooting for goal.
Can you kick goals with hair like that? Well, on this occasion, no. He's kicked 1 goal, 3.
It's a couple of crucial misses. In fact, there's 3 now if you consider Gavin Mitchell's run into an open goal. Shot before now, Everett's had 3 in this quarter. They really should have pinged.
Kick to the 50 is good. Simmons takes the mark. Just under 9 minutes remaining to half-time. And St Kilda leading by 7 points.
And I think the Saints would probably need to take a couple of goal lead into the half-time break, because they have played the better football in this first half. There's no doubt that the West Coast have got another gear to go up, and maybe the Saints will be more prone to tiring in this heat.
Fraser Gehrig took just his 2nd mark for the game, the leading marker in the competition. But they've turned it over and St Kilda out of defence. Good spoil by Thompson and the ball out of play.
It's just so critical when you have temperatures like this and such a debilitating day that if you get chances to kick goals, you've just got to take every one of them.
One in the ruck by Cook, playing his first league game since last year's grand final. Beveridge worked hard at ground level. Ball flipped up to Thompson. He's a big boy and can roost it a mile. Look out, here comes Aussie Jones. He burns them off, goes for goal, but hooks the kick on the run.
In that situation, when you're under pressure like that to shoot at goal, you know there's going to be a slight nudge coming from behind. He knew that Wooden was going to be right with him. Did he just set up a little bit short to allow Spider, who's in that square, 1 out, for him to come out?
He's not slow, Wooden. I really thought that Aussie might just put a space in him there, but he put him under enough pressure.
I don't think he'd be playing on him if Mick Moldhouse thought he wouldn't have the pace to go with Aussie. Not many players would go past him.
50 metres against Cook.
Turnbull's just come on to replace Gardner again in that switch.
Cook still hasn't jerried that there's a 50-metre penalty.
He's taken out.
And there wasn't.
The umpire surely signalled.
It looked like it was going, unless he was just saying come back on the mark a bit, but...
Gee. So there was no 50-metre penalty. And Lewis, just behind centre wing.
Well, he ignored the lead from Gehrig, and now they've got to turn around and go square it off.
It's in the hands of a pretty good unit, though, and Peter Matera.
You can just see that the Eagles are trying to push everybody up to about the 70-yard mark, and they're going to then try and penetrate the space behind them.
In the direction of Gehrig. Well done, Hudson. Ball flipped to Matera. Gehrig got a toe to it. Phil Matera. It was going to be an Eagles free kick, and advantage was going to be paid, but Matera looked around and waited.
So they pluck some out, Drew, sometimes when they miss so many others.
Gehrig to Matera. To McIntosh, but it drops in short to Beveridge. Well, even the great can make mistakes. Peter Matera, 13 kicks and 1 handball.
This is where the Saints really do miss Stuart Lowe there. Beveridge is locked down on the half-back line. There's no Everett. There's also no Stuart Lowe. So he's just going to have to bomb it and hope that his midfielders are good enough.
And what a pack gathered. Knocked up by Reid to Banfield. Phil Matera back to brother Peter. That was a poor hand pass. Lapham. Oh, great stuff. Djakovic. You can't tackle like that. And the umpire said the ball's held to him. He's going to ball it up.
I reckon his right hand might have been around the shoulder. That's what Djakovic is saying. He put a saddle on him.
If that's not in the back, I've never seen one.
Look at that.
Good heavens, umpire.
I think he's suffering a bit of sunstroke, David Ackland.
Djakovic pops up the hand pass. It flips out to McLaren. Saints are going well in the second term here. They lead the Eagles. Heatley, some sort of a hand pass. Might have been a throw. Harvey, one out. Everett, Turnbull. Spider. He got it. Everett's kick 2. And the crowd still going crook about the non-free kick.
And I reckon they have every right to here. There was a couple of free kicks here. I didn't think that was a problem, but this certainly was. Right Bronco, and down goes Glenn Djakovic. But there was also a very suspect handball from Jason Heatley, one of his few possessions today. Got it to Harvey, but on the turn, the big Spider just wheeled around on the right leg, kicked it with his left, and an important goal to the Saints.
So Everett gets his second goal, and St Kilda's lead is back out to 14 points. Djakovic has gone on the ball for the Eagles. Saints get it going forward. Winmar, magnificent second term. Well, Cook wasn't ready for it. Simmons turned into trouble. Off the ground across the half-back line by Morrison. And out of play. Lapham's done some very good things on Peter Matera, even though Flying Peter's had 13 kicks.
He's just got to be careful a couple of times. We just see this tackle again, but Lapham's just pushing forward a bit too far sometimes, leaving Matera free, but so far he's all right. But there's no question that was a free kick to Djakovic.
And in the setup for that goal from Peter Everett, a little hand pass was given out by Heatley that we thought looked suspiciously like a throw. It's been his only possession today, one throw. Oh, Winmar, brilliant. He didn't go for goal, he went for Everett. Good option.
It's a terrific kick though, Drew, because he really just, Everett and Turnbull were side by side, but he pushed it out, watch this, on his left boot in front of Everett, allowing the big fella to run to his advantage on that side. Spot on.
And I think the key to this entire forward thrust is that Spider delayed his lead.
And that's just about over the goalpost. It's slightly... Oh, goodness me! Oh!
I'll tell you what, I can even the St Kilda players are ready to set up the zone for the kick-off.
Well, I think the local crowd are going to go for the rope at half-time.
What's
because
this?
they have.
It's definitely gone right. It hasn't even gone over the post, and I reckon it's gone to the right of it, definitely. We're in pretty good position. We're almost behind that kick. Well, that's his third.
Where do they send them in Western Australia when they go to the bush? Northern?
That's not far enough away, mate. It'd have to be Geraldton, I think.
Oh, surely the umpires have lost control here, Roscoe. What a decision by that goal umpire. Boy, Djakovic out of the middle. Well done, Cousins. Dispossessed beautifully. Oh, Daniels and the tackle. Well played, Jack Daniels. And he wins the free kick. Well, he beat 2 of them then.
The Saints have had the greatest run with free kicks in a 10-minute period, I think, in their history.
Kick by Cripps. Aussie Jones with speed, but he left the ball behind.
I'll tell you what though, Jared, they've only got 6 in total so far. St Kilda, West Coast 10, but watch this, definite miss.
What is your decision?
Optometrist, Monday morning, 9 o'clock.
Cook from behind. McLaren back into a nest of players. Wood.
Do you think Peter Slob would consider the interchange for umpires?
Well, there's not a spare one, but either Peter Jeffers or Paul Smith, one of the two is in the spot of bother, I'd suggest.
Haven't we had some controversial decisions this year? Oh, well, we'll leave them alone. The crowd will tell their tale. Harvey. McLaren's been all right. High ball to half forward. Healy underneath it with Metropolis.
There's no doubt, Jared, you suggested that St Kilda needed a couple more goals going into half-time. They've got that. If they can just hold them off, West Coast, they're going with a 20-point lead. It's a pretty handy one.
Harvey, he's got McLaren in support. Now, Joey McLaren is up for his 10th possession. He had about half an hour on the bench. High to 50. Knocked down by Mitchell to the front. Lappin does well. Lappin will get it back. Oh, he should have given the hand pass the first time. You're gone. The umpire then paid advantage, and there was no advantage.
No, he shouldn't have paid advantage in the first place because Jakovic is going to be under too much pressure anyway.
Well, that was umpire Vince Cercia. Who'll we pick on next?
Well, Matthew Lappin would be disappointed, as would Stan Ells, with that one, because he has done just about everything right this afternoon. And rather than playing the percentage, he went for the pas de deux out the back and got well and truly trounced.
Well, Donnelly moved well and Lewis moved well. Stan Ells in the coach's box. If they get a win over the Eagles in Perth in this heat today, without Burke and Lowe, it'll be some victory. The kick inside 50. Fumble by Heady. Sirakoski, you did well.
Thanks.
Hodgson. Agent 86. Young.
Clever kick by Daniels too, Drew. Could have gone out of bounds.
Harvey to Cripps. Cripps has been a very good player. On the chest of Metropolis. Jakovic. Run down by Cook. He's got him. They're under pressure all over the park, the Eagles. Brown got the ball out. McLaren another kick. Oh, Nicky! Up a mile. Bad luck he didn't take the mark. Morrison. Kick by Morrison to half forward. Gehrig. He's been pretty quiet, Fraser Gehrig. And not too good on that occasion. Thompson did well. Cripps getting plenty of leather. Working through the middle. Drawing a player. Getting Healy free. He's kicked 3. He's lining up for number 4. Happy birthday, son! He missed it.
We'll see Nicky Winmarsh jump here. He misses the mark and puts his teammates under pressure because the ball goes to ground and the feed off by Morrison sets up West Coast, but the pressure by St Kilda in the midfield there, terrific.
And the kicking skills this weekend have probably reached an all-time low.
About equal with the umpires.
Yes, and Jason Cripps off again for a breather. Beveridge back on. Good work by Stan Ells to rotate those smaller players.
Ozzie Jones in space. He's only 30 metres from goal.
8 kicks, 2 handballs to Ozzie Jones, and already a goal in this quarter. A miraculous one from the boundary.
It was Healy delivering again. What a day he's had.
They're 7 and 5 to Daniel Healy.
The lead's 21 already. Ozzie Jones has missed it. Set shot, virtually right in front.
I reckon that's 4 now they've missed in this quarter. They should really have kicked. Could really have punished West Coast.
There's still a chance to be called a goal.
Well, we haven't got the inside 50 count here at the moment, but I would think it'd be something incredibly favouring St Kilda. The game has been just about played at the Fremantle Doctor end of the ground, whatever that is called, Ross.
No, it's just, we call it the 3-tier stand end.
That'll do.
Right of screen.
Yeah. Turnbull fumbling that one out of bounds. Everett beats him in the boundary throw-in. Comes to Simmons. Round the boundary line to half forward. That's a great pass on the chest of Ashley McIntosh. McIntosh pierces the 50. Gehrig's there. Hodgson's done a top job. Well done, Maxie again to set it up for the Saints. Beveridge pulled off his hand pass. Gehrig had to work hard. They're putting them off their game, the Saints. They scragged a bit there, gave away the free kick. Heady takes it quickly, and Gehrig finds himself in space.
There's Matt Hodgson to push back towards the square and didn't have a chance to come back and pick up Gehrig. He's waiting for Gehrig to swing around, get possession and kick the ball to the square. He's going to help out his teammate back there on McIntosh, but Heady too clever, got Gehrig short.
Fraser Gehrig leads the competition in marks taken, averaging 10 a game. He was 10 ahead of Stewie Lowe coming into this game, but today he's taken just 3.
And generally you'd be pretty confident that this was almost a certainty, but the way the boys have been kicking, not just today but over the entire weekend, I think we'll just wait with bated breath.
Gehrig kicks it after the siren at half-time. That's his first goal today, an important one to lift the Eagles going into the long break. They were outplayed decisively in that second term by the Saints. St Kilda trailed by 2 points at quarter time, but they lead by 16 at half-time. And it was 22 before that goal.
And I think a couple of questions, Ross, that will only be answered in the second half. A, can Maxie Hudson continue to apply the cone of silence to Fraser Gehrig? And two, can St Kilda's running abilities be sustained in the second term with so many difficulties with the heat?
And it's not just their running pressure offensively, it's their running to tackle, put pressure on their players in midfield, but they've rotated the bench pretty well. And you're right, if they can maintain that intensity, it's been an outstanding effort, and they're a chance to win this game.
Well, we hope you're enjoying this action from Subiaco Oval, a real contest in cricket-type weather. The boys taking their jumpers off before they get to the rooms. And St Kilda at half-time lead by 16 points. They scored 5 goals to 3 in that quarter. It's 8 goals, 8. 56 to 6-4-40 at Subiaco. And we start the second half. Can't give it to either ruckman that time. Kicked out of there by Harvey. Matera did brilliantly to get in front of Lappin to punch away. Winmar really lifted in the second quarter. Harvey finds Lappin peeling off Matera. It's a great setup by the Saints once again. McLaren centres and gave it up straight to the opposition Reed. For the boundary.
They push McIntosh back to centre-half back, Drew, with Jakovic going to full forward. Gehrig stays at predominantly centre-half full position, which is a much better setup for him, flanked by Heady and Donnelly.
The fan cooling the players on the interchange bench. Today more suited for being at the beach than at the football. Fancy having to play it. Aussie.
Josh Wooden retaining the job on Aussie Jones. And Drew Banfield sticking with Robert Harvey too.
And there's Jason Heatley. Looks as though he might be getting a bit of a rub on a thigh injury. He's had just one touch so far, and we thought that was a throw. Banfield, a dive down there, unsuccessful by Donnelly. Here's the first gamer doing well, Ben Thompson. Lappin spins out of Matera's tackle. Clever to full forward. It comes to the front of the pack. He's dangerous, Brown. Young flips the hand pass out. It's a hospital ball and they've lost it. McIntosh to Reed. And Gardner at halfback. Kicked by Gardner. Had to elevate it over Everett. There's Maxie punching away. And Fraser Gehrig, he did kick a goal after the siren at half-time, but he's been kept to just 6 possessions.
The Eagles are trying to get a change with Matera going on to Tony Brown, which allows Guy McKenna to pick up Matthew Lappin.
Gardner wins, gets it going the Eagles' way. Morrison missed with an attempted soccer kick. Winmar tackled when he didn't have it, but the ball was over the line.
Now, what would be behind that move, Ross? Do you think that Mick Moldhouse would think that Matera would be able to run more off Tony Brown than he was off Lappin?
Well, I think they just should be careful that Lappin, in fact, has just had the better of Matera in the first place, so they've got to be wary of that.
Crowd chanting to lift the home side now. Hand pass by Peckett. Clever hands by Cousins. Back to Morrison. Very high ball. It's a push out. Eagles free. It's against Thompson, the debutant.
Yes, and the free kick goes to Donnelly, who just we see here is in front posse. Left hand pushing in the back. A bit untidy, but the umpire in best position. That's what he's there for at that angle.
So the shot for goal for Donnelly. He's kicked 1. It swings back for 2. So importantly, the Eagles get the first score of the second half.
And it was a bit sloppy by the debutant. He really had plenty of time just to body the player under the ball and just come over the back strongly. There was no need to push him off with that left hand, and that was something that he is going to have to take out of his game. And whilst there's been plenty of positives in his debut, that will go down as a bit of a negative.
Well, the jointers are rocking now as the Eagles fans start to rise to lift their players. Morrison out of the middle. Almost to Daniels. Hand pass up to Waterman, unsuccessful. Punched on by Young. Daniels kicked to half forward. Jones. Oh, he wasn't sure whether to leave it for Winmar. Young in support. He had more time than you're entitled to get in a league game. Metropolis. Ball kept in for Brown. Metropolis did well.
Just looking at Jason Cripps, he was just struggling a bit at the start of this third quarter. Now going to be interchanged with Luke Beveridge.
Ball up close to the boundary line. McIntosh and Sirakoski. Reed. Poor old kick, still there for Winmar. Sirakoski. Kick smothered. Here's Matera with his pace. Great to wide, give it up. Harvey probably said, over here, Pete. Robert Harvey. Oh, poor kick. Straight to McIntosh. Are they turning it over? Lappin. Attempted punch by Metropolis. Sirakoski. 35 to 40 metres out. It bounces through for a minor score.
Yeah, we've seen probably on about a dozen times today, Jared, haven't we? People trying to be precise with their kicks, trying to get a low trajectory pass off over about 30 metres. And we see here Peter Matera trying to break away, be evasive. The only player out outside was the opposition player, Robert Harvey.
He gets enough possessions by himself without
having him another one, an easy one.
Robert Harvey today, 16 possessions. So he's short of the schedule of last week when he got 40 for the game.
St.Kilda just going one-on-one in their defensive effort here.
Banfield's also had 14 possessions, and I would have thought, Ross, that they've just about broken even at the present time.
Fair call. I think Banfield's possessions or kicks have been certainly a bit longer than Harvey's.
Gardner. Oh, Aussie Jones. Well, the quarter's been going about 4.5 minutes. We're probably at 39 turnovers. McLaren. Very high ball. They want to mark him forward. Just got his hand to it in time, Metropolis.
It was a good fist away in the end by Metropolis. He just got his fist to that ball, but it didn't allow Daniel Healy to take that mark. He looks as if he might have had to sit. The fist just sneaking through. Everyone brings their teddy to the footy. Looks a bit old for that.
Here's the Wizard, but he's kicked out of bounds on the full. So his last two possessions, he's given a hand pass to Harvey and a free kick here to St Kilda.
I think he's not without some chance. He'll probably set it up and maybe try to squeeze a short pass into the space, but he's kicked some longer goals than this one, Ross.
And there's always this ground. Yep.
Still hot.
The ball.
Right. Still hot day. No breezer factor. Gee, it's a good kick. He just gets off the hands for a minor score. So he got it to the long side.
That's Jason Cripps there getting some attention on the boundary line.
The Saints are going one-on-one in their defensive kick-out drills. And as always, well, as usual, generally the player can get away from them.
The Eagles have kicked a goal in this quarter and the Saints have kicked two behinds. Gary going the wrong way. Eventually they peel up from defence. Wooden. Simmons. Open forward line. Phil Matera.
And I'd suggest that's Phil Matera's coming up for his sixth kick.
And really it was up to Wakeland to leave his man here. You see him just only worried about keeping Jakovic out, which is fine. But if the West Coast Eagles end up kicking a goal, then it really has hurt the team. It's always that balancing act, Ross. You played at fullback many times. And
to leave your man, well, you've got to do that. You're right. You've just got to take that punt, go out and meet the footy. Philip
Matera hasn't scored today. 40 metres out. The They scored just 1 point.
Yeah, it's that fine line, Jerry. There's no question. You've got to make up your mind and make it very decisively and instinctively to go straight away, meet the player with the footy, rather than just saying, well, it's not my man, I'm not responsible for him, I've got mine covered. As you're right, if the goal scored, the team gets penalised anyway.
Well, the West Coast employing a zone, and the space was actually at the back of the zone, but the Saints are, well, they're going to lose it up now.
Oh, the crowd yelled ball, but St Kilda get the free kick for the high tackle to Daniels.
Yeah, the West Coast had their three-line zone all inside the forward 50, which means that the space was behind. And not surprisingly, very crowded in there if they turned it over the Saints.
Was that player opportunity? No whistle. Crowd not happy at the moment. Scary.
Well, it's Morrison that got that ball forward in the congestion, and Gehrig just enjoys this one-out situation and has done for this year so far, to stand behind his opponent and just keep him out with his body, knowing that he has the height advantage and the confidence with his marking. Just takes the catch from behind.
Now Fraser Gehrig has kicked 1 goal, 1. His only goal came after the siren at half-time. Margin 11 points. Important goal for the Eagles. They're back to within a kick.
And that was a result of just good defensive strategies from the kick in from St Kilda. They got it away, they held them up after the first kick, and then they really did crowd around the football, won it effectively, and finished up with a one-out battle with Gehrig and Hodgson.
Well, the Eagles surging at the moment like the Saints did at the start of the second quarter. Margin 5 points at Subiaco Oval. Cousins hand pass. Reed back to Cousins. St Kilda putting pressure on all over the field, forcing an ordinary kick by Cousins. Well rode by Heady. He took it out, took the ball over the line before he kicked it.
Yes, it's always going to be a problem that as the player goes to put the ball on his boot, the right hand comes out to set the ball over the boot. That's where it goes over the line.
Important time now for both sides. The Eagles are just starting to find some run. Their confidence would be starting to build. The crowd has certainly lifted and is becoming a feature in this game.
Nicky Winmar's just gone to the bench. Looked as though he gave the runner a bit of a serve as he was going too. What a contest here. A real scrap. Are they desperate? Well, the Eagles have lost their last 2 games, and they don't often lose 3 in a row, Roscoe.
No, they don't. There's Nicky Winmar. It was a great smother by Brett Cook off the boot there at Banfield, I think it was, going forward. Nicky's trying to find out why he's come off the ground.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to spray the coach, but often the runner's a good substitute.
Banfield goes back. Waterman. Lewis. Peckett got a fingernail to it. Jakovic on the forward line. Jakovic. Head spills to Donnelly, and Donnelly kicks the goal. Eagles in front.
Well, that's that confidence, Jared, isn't it? Just doing those little finessey things now which are coming off. The ball's starting to run their way a bit. Here, just pushing the ball through. Good work by Jakovic to keep control of the footy and push it towards goal. And Phil Matera under siege just taps it up with a double-handed push. Donnelly in the right spot at the right time. Here's a tap forward by Matera. Saw him in the area. Good evasive skills, and the finish was there.
Well, as the siren sounded for half-time, St Kilda led by 22 points. The Eagles kicked a goal after the siren, and 3 more to start this quarter, and the Eagles are in front. Banfield, Gehrig, and the crowd's lifted. They probably lifted the team. The crowd lifting now with the team. It's 59-58, and the Eagles in front. Gehrig from near the boundary line. Morrison, well placed. Simmons kept it in. On the behind line is Mitchell. Gave it everything he had. What a mark by Young. He's off. Just Saints gets rid of the hand pass. Under pressure. Hodgson. Oh, straight out of bounds.
It's a couple of times we've seen, sorry Drew, a couple of times the Kilda players have done the hard work in either taking a mark or getting possession of the footy and gone to play on when they really shouldn't have, just gone back and settled, getting caught out again.
Subiaco's gone to centre-half forward and they've shifted Glenn Jakovic down there to pick him up.
Donnelly sweeps the hand pass in to Gardner, who runs to the 50, thumps it a mile. Has he kicked it? They like it. This game has changed in 10 minutes.
I was going to say the Eagles really get big spurts on during the course of a game. And now it's a total of 10 goals, and normally they aim for about 12 to 15. They really are on fire at the moment. They've got to make sure they take the advantage of this resurgence. As Jared said, the crowd's with them. The crowd lifted them. They've then gone and lifted the crowd once more. And every player getting a hand up. Every time they've gone inside 50, they've scored.
Well, the Eagles are certainly on a roll, Ross, and I just wonder whether it's not a time for Peter Everett to come back into these centre bounces.
It's a fair call. He's been sitting down in the forward area and just wasted at the moment.
Reid. Well done, Mitchell. Mitchell stopped the forward momentum. Here's Brown. Gary, good chase. Magnificent attack. Gee, they're working well now. Peter Matera. 2 against 2. It gets to the back. Open goal, Morrison. He's got another one. Boy, oh boy, how do you stop this?
Well, you stop it by getting the ball out of the centre primarily, and that's something that the Saints haven't done. And just have a look here at the way that Morrison is allowed to just drop out the back. It's got to be man for man. You've got to push your player in front of you so he can't just do the U-turn and come out the back door. And that was just a fatal mistake, primarily because Shane Wakeland failed to punch the ball effectively.
Got his hand.
Well, you're a good coach, Jared. On the ball now, Peter Everett.
Looks like Carl Dittrich.
Well, the Saints need to start winning it out of the middle. And while Cook was there, they were flogged in the middle. Cousins. Hodgson gets there with, well, is it deliberately out of bounds? The umpire calls for the throw-in.
You know, it's amazing, Drew, when the tide of the game swings in your favour. Some players start to chase a bit harder and do the harder stuff. Gary, just before that goal, chased down the St Kilda player and normally would have let him go. They've lifted their rating, no question about that.
Cook's come off the ground now, replaced by Jason Heatley, who's a much better option at full forward than Cook.
The Saints this quarter have kicked just 2 behinds, while the Eagles have added 5 goals, 1. Gardner kicked that long goal and Glenn Jakovic ran to the youngster and said, well done, son. Now come on, team. Donnelly, he's got it just out on centre wing. They've come from 22 points down to 13 points in front, the Eagles, in the blink of an eye. Oh, good mark, Waterman.
Well, the delay was all about trying to create space, and Waterman came from the goalpost. Everybody had pushed up the ground, and finally he was able to take a running leap. Morrison also was pushing into the same area, but it was Waterman that read it best. And at the bottom there, you see Beveridge trying to punch. He's wasn't able to get an effective punch on it.
Yeah, Chris Waterman's one of those players who does everything pretty well as Winmar is back on the ground. He should finish off from here, Chris Waterman.
He's been quiet. That was his first mark. This is his second kick. Offline.
We had the role last week in the last 3 quarters against Richmond on Matthew Knights, of course, as a tagging type player. Got a bit of the footy himself. He's been a fantastic servant in the club as Chris Waterman.
And a bit of breeze just starting to spring up a little bit, Ross. Would that be the famed doctor?
Correct. Let's hope she comes in nice and quickly.
Daniel Healy, who's kicked 3 goals today. Here he is marking the kick in at half-back. To centre wing, Subiaco dropped his head slightly, didn't mark. It's going to be an Eagles free kick for a high tackle, and it's going to Glenn Jakovic.
Of course, that breeze is favouring the end to which St Kilda kicks at the moment. And will it get stronger as the day progresses, which will favour the Eagles in the final?
It should do, yes.
So there's only half of the third quarter left. and the Eagles will have it for the whole of the last quarter. Strange mistake by Peter Matera. He's made 3 clangers in this third quarter. Young dashes back. He didn't clear it. Who kicked that? A rush behind.
He tried to kick it back to get defensively through the points, and in fact it went to the 2 players sitting in front of him. One was Morrison. It could well have come off his boot and been a goal.
Yeah.
Watch this. Here goes Young to go back with his teammate, fortunately.
Well, they're not playing the ball for Matera. How about a free kick umpire? Now the West Aussies want a free kick to the Eagles. Taking a foot disadvantage there.
Yeah, free kick to McIntosh, been held on, even though the St Kilda player was in the front position, which was Heatley. He had hold of McIntosh's jumper. That's untidy, just conceding straight away.
I'm sure that'll impress the coach no end.
When you've just come on the ground expected to do something positive.
McIntosh, who played forward early and kicked 2 goals. And fumbled all the way over the line by Joe McLaren, who was one of the late inclusions. 5 players dropped out. Stewie Lowe, Nathan Burke, Paul, Andrew Thompson and Knowles after he made his debut last week. Everett. Good mark at the back to Ashley McIntosh.
He's not suited to centre-half forward, particularly is Jason Heatley. He's a leading player out of the square. They've got to bring Sirakoski down to centre-half forward and get a contest there. But he's back in the forward pocket trying to keep Jakovic out of the play, so it's working against them.
Donnelly to Banfield. Now Philip Matera. Back to Banfield, who laid it like an egg. Matera! Oh, he's kicked another one.
As we see, Jason Heatley been taken from the ground, and I'd like to say there that 1-2 between the 2 West Coast players was a set play where Banfield leaves it behind. Yeah. As we see this from Matera, leaves it behind. He let the 2 St Kilda players go forward. It was just a genuine fumble, but Matera quick enough to pounce, and Gerardy's bobbed up and now kicked that important goal.
I actually thought this was the out the back one. There it is. No, it's not. Whoops. Guy's quicker than the hand.
Well, the Eagles have almost doubled their score in half a quarter. They were 6-4 to half-time, and they've added 6-3 in this third quarter, with still 7.5 minutes left. Gardner wins in the middle. Waterman, they're all queuing up for the football. Lewis, Cousins. Kick by Cousins. Long to full forward. Gehrig, beautiful! Throws to Gehrig! How about that for a goal?
Well, Maxie Hudson just lost the plot on that occasion. The pressure was just too great. You have a look at the ball coming down. Cousins will bomb it towards Gehrig, and Max just doesn't know where he is. He loses total control, lost touch with the hand, and he was looking for K13 there for a bit of assistance, but it wasn't to be, and a great goal by Fraser Gehrig really puts it in.
Well, the Eagles having just one of those quarters that you dream of. Kicking big scores hasn't been a strength of the Eagles, but they are kicking a big score in this quarter. 7 goals for the term and still 7 minutes left. St Kilda goalless. Harvey, 53 metres. Penetration with the kick and off Winmar from behind.
Drew, there's no question now that if the Eagles will just settle this down and just take control completely of this game, which they have at the moment, maintain that and really try and suppress St Kilda. As we know and we've said time and time again, they're not the sort of side West Coast that really forges ahead and breaks the game open completely. The door is still slightly ajar for St Kilda. It's a matter whether they've got someone who can step up and take control across half forward, or whether Spider Everett can have a real influence through the middle of the ground. As Robert Harvey's just quietly gone out of this game at the moment, which is due credit to Drew Banfield. And Robert Harvey just at the moment 11 and 6.
Metropolis getting cramp here. And you can see him taking a bit of a limp there as he stretched for the mark. Jakovic climbs to punch the ball to the front. Doing the disciplined things in defence and blistering on the forward line for a quarter of football that you'd just dream of. St Kilda's last goal, 24-minute mark, second quarter. So they've gone about a quarter without a goal. And in the meantime, the Eagles have flown. Everett wins this. Beveridge, he's got Harvey going past. Robbie Harvey. Well, he's not a goal kicker. Gets a lot of it, Robert Harvey, but he should have kicked that one.
There's one they needed just to pull back a bit. Metropolis has been taken from the ground. Chris Waterman's been pushed from the forward area to basically a back pocket, full-back position, now doing the kicking in. And young Todd Holmes will come on to replace Metropolis.
One of the problems Rob Harvey has when he shoots for goal is that when he does make that decision, he often gets it in incredibly pressurised situations like that one, and he doesn't get enough opportunity to run direct at the goal.
Great pace by Phil Matera. It runs in the family, obviously, as Healy thought he had more time than he actually had. McIntosh. Oh, dropped by Reed. Chance for Mitchell. And he's got Winmar with him. Neil Elvis Winmar. First goal for the quarter.
No question here, the kick coming through from McIntosh was spot on to Reed, but Reed just that fumble in his hands. Watch this, McIntosh clears the ball away, as he and Jakic have done so much this year out of that defensive 50. The fumble by Reed, a shocker. Good defensive effort there as forwards by both Winmar and Mitchell. Mitchell getting the ball to Winmar. The pick up and scoop by Winmar, right hand, and a finish. That's where we come to watch the footy to players do stuff like that.
Margin back to 19 points. Gee, when the Saints went off at half-time, they looked triumphant. I'm not saying for a moment they thought they had the game won, but they had dominated the second quarter, and how have the Eagles dominated the third? Harvey, cornered on the boundary line. How about that umpire? He's pushed it down.
Well, it's definitely pushed, but they're querying whether he actually dropped the ball in the tackle. Watch this. Goes for it, goes to handball as tackle, and someone suggested there's prior opportunity, but you are pushed in the back, you've got to get the free kick.
Slightly with Brett Heady there. I thought he had a bit of a case. Winmar to Everett. Everett keeps it in despite Gardner's efforts. Big Pete off the left, hooked it out of bounds on the full.
Well, he did everything right there, Spider, as did St Kilda, but he could well have settled a little bit more. He had more time than perhaps his effort suggested. Adrian.
Yes, Jared, just an update on Daniel Metropolis. It is only cramp and fatigue. It is his first game back after almost a year, so you could expect that.
McIntosh, beautiful foot disposal. Gehrig having the better of Hutchton in this quarter. Over the top to Reed. First game are looking $1 million. Push, crowd wants it. It comes to Donnelly. He gets another one. Well, Donnelly's kicked 3 this quarter and 4 for the game.
Yes, and again, just that rebound off half-back, just players breaking free. And this time, Philip Reed making amends for that fumble before, which resulted in a goal. Perhaps a free kick there to Holmes, but not to be. And Young might have hurt his ankle. Donnelly with the mopping up from behind. And things just running West Coast way again. Donnelly able to break free here and just sneaks it through.
14 goals, 7, and they were just 6-4 at half-time.
Starts in the middle for St Kilda. They've got to start to orchestrate some better clearances because the West Coast Eagles have dominated.
The Eagles could be heading for a 10-goal quarter. It wouldn't have happened too often to them in their history. Down went Cousins. In the centre square, Winmar. Harvey was the wrong option. Harvey had no hope. Peckett. Daniel's not moving too well at the moment. Looks as though it's tired him this heat. McLaren's kick. Oh, almost magnificent mark by Thompson. Holmes. Everett. Missed it. Here's Jones. Here's Reed. Slight fumble. Zilla. Winmar. Harvey. Just making a few fumbles. Great skill by Robert Harvey. For number 4, Healy. Right behind this we are. And he's kicked it.
I'll tell you what, Drew, just as well he kicked it because he had Thompson sitting about 15 metres out from goal that he should have short passed to, but Obviously his confidence is up, Jared, isn't it? And he's kicked his fourth. But the evasive skills here of Robert Harvey. Watch this, Matera's coming from his left. He just stops, holds the ball. You can just see Thompson, when you see him again, he's in front of him about, what, 15 metres out. Just as well Healy kicked the goal.
He's a huge kick though, Healy.
It was a great kick.
Well, Daniel Healy had kicked just 6 goals in 19 games prior to today, and he's kicked 4 on his birthday. What a day he's had. His best in the AFL. It comes to Beveridge. Bad bounce for McIntosh.
No assistance there for Healy.
And Healy goes to ground. Crowd yell, ball. Umpire says, I'll ball it up.
They were down one man because the Saints are trying to push David Sierakowski to centre-half back to pick up Andrew Donnelly, but Donnelly is pretty keen to push forward. No, now they've made that match up, and it's Jason Cripps that's gone back into the forward line for St Kilda.
There's no doubt, though, Jared, as you said earlier, that Everett in the ruck, particularly when he came in about 15 minutes ago, has made all the difference.
Kick by Jakovic, punched down by Donnelly, man who's kicked 3 goals in this quarter. Lappin, back he goes. Daniels, short of the 50, not a great kick. We've said that a few times in his career. Jakovic, beautiful hand pass to McKenna. And what a kick by McKenna. Eventually Wooden was put under pressure by Wakeland. And Shane Wakeland, Darryl still on the bench. Look at the pace of Cousins. He's exciting to watch. Gets to the back. They're under siege, St Kilda. Holmes off the side of the boot and out of bounds into the crowd.
Fraser Gerrick's gone down with a...
Goes to cramp.
Yep.
Cousins' athleticism and speed. Doesn't speed
Really
make such a difference today in the game? And to match that with skills, all very right, the speed and the endurance, but you haven't got the skill, it doesn't help you too much. But Ben Cousins has both.
So Harvey takes the free kick. It bounces short of Everett. And the ball out of bat. Now here's Fraser Gehrig. He went up high for the mark. Came down and gave the muscle a bit of a twinge. If you didn't get a cramp today, wouldn't matter how fit you were. Day like today, probably a...
Yeah, the old calf is feeling like a piece of 4B2 at the moment.
Yep, 12-man interchange bench.
I don't say that, Drew.
Sorry, very silly. 19 the difference. So St Kilda, if they can regroup at the last change, aren't out of it. But the Eagles will come home with a breeze which is slightly freshened during this third quarter. Matera, windmark on Matera at the moment. In the middle of the ground, it comes to McIntosh. Holding the ball, Ashley McIntosh. Listen to the crowd.
Well, the umpire then would decide that he had the chance to get rid of the ball a bit early, and because Ashley McIntosh always wants his left foot, the player came in from that side and just restricted his kicking.
A bit of tangle of feet there, and McIntosh has gone down. He's sitting in the centre circle receiving treatment. Aussie Jones, a goal before the siren would be handy. He's unloaded for a bomb and has kicked a big one just offline.
There's the player, Jared, you suggested should have come into this quarter at 11 and 2. Aussie Jones, he could have given him the spark to assist. See, McIntosh continually wanted his left boot. Mitchell in from the side to cut him off.
I was always led to understand, prior to this interpretation of prior opportunity, that if the ball was jolted out in the tackle like that, it's play on.
Exactly.
But with prior opportunity, I think that is null and void. Where's John?
Where are you, Johnny? Probably back at home, watching the telecast, picking up the phone, dialing your mobile as we speak. Donnelly can't take the mark, but he's had a great third quarter. And the Eagles have had a magnificent third quarter where they dominated the Saints and kicked 8 goals free to St Kilda's 2-5.
Well, what a turnaround. And I think it started, Ross, in the middle of the ground with the West Coast Eagles just getting plenty of possession, plenty of drive out from those centre bounces. Saints started with Everett up in the forward line, and it just didn't work for them. They had Healy on and off the ground. That didn't work for them, but it was all the forwards of the West Coast.
And I think the thing that worked better for them was the structure they had, which we wanted early in the game. We thought would work better for them, was having Gehrig as the sole centre half forward, with McIntosh back in the back half, so they could dominate the position, and he ended up doing that, and was well complemented by Donnelly with 3 goals in that quarter.
3 goals the diff. That's in the middle by umpire Vince Cercia. Well done, Gardner. Harvey sharked it. Spills out to McLaren, who actually has to lay the tackle.
But too long on Cousins there, Drew, and unfortunately he's dispossessed him, but then hung on to Cousins for too long. He penalised for that.
Cousins, 16 possessions.
Being a bit pedantic here, the umpire.
Across the half-back line to switch the point of attack. Waterman with distance to Donnelly, who's kicked 4-3 in the 3rd quarter, and he gets a free kick over the shoulder.
And one thing about Andrew Donnelly back in this side, he'll always keep presenting up and can take an overhead mark. He's mobile, and off that half-forward flanker, they've got Heady firing on the other side. They complement Gehrig very nicely.
Turnbull and Wakeland did well to punch it away from him and find the line. Shane Wakeland, twin brother Daryl Wakeland, was crunched down earlier on, went to the bench, had treatment. We haven't seen him back on the field. Everett with the blonde locks, high tackle on Beveridge, and a free kick to St Kilda. He takes it from a prone position. Harvey. Here comes Max. Hudson. Thompson underneath the ball. It was almost as though he picked out Djakovic. Hudson. Cousins. An exciting mover. Not bad for a player with a hip injury. Well, Beveridge lost sight of that. It's tapped back to him by Lappin. Short to McLaren. St Kilda not totally out of it. There's 3 goals down.
Sorry, Drew, he's hung on far too long now. He's got no one to kick to other than Talls. Now Healy gets back. He's have to go against Djakovic.
Oh, Nicky leaps high and protects the ball with his body. Knees up. It's a beauty. Everett offers the lead in short. And the youngster Thompson in his first game offered a pretty good lead. Winmar just roosts it high. Everett!
And Jared, isn't it true, whenever players go for a torpedo, I don't know, is it 1 in 10 they get on them, but every time they do and they don't, the ball's always going to drop short. It's only, if they think it's going to go 50, it'll always go 40. You've got to be in front. Spider Everett was there. Easy chest mark. Chris Lewis on for the weary-looking Chad Morrison.
Set play, Roscoe. Everett in front, waiting for the wobbly old torp.
Well, if he had gone onto a big one, it would have gone over his head. But yeah, you've just got to be in front on all occasions in that forward half, no question.
This is one of the truest set plays in AFL. You go back, you line up the big sticks, and hopefully you put it straight through.
This is for his own 4th. Got it. Crowd's quiet. 2 goals the difference.
Well, it's one thing that St Kilda won't do, that slide, and maybe that tough game last week against Carlton in the boggy conditions we thought may have gone against them, but the physical pressure in that game might just hold them in good stead. They're certainly a pretty fit side, St Kilda, and their running players have worked well for them today. And in the absence of Stewie Lowe, Spider Everett's definitely stepped up. They just need a bit of a zip now from Harvey and Jones to keep pushing them forward.
David Ackland to bounce in the centre. Nice and straight. Gardner beats Everett. Harvey sharks again. Djakovic again. Not a great hand pass. Cousins under pressure. Now Phil Matera. Players looking into the sun. Didn't seem to matter for Donnelly.
6 marks, and that's the sort of play that he can provide you with across half forward as a floating type of player. Is good in the air, and as we've already seen today with his 4 goals, he does finish off pretty well from limited opportunities.
So So far, there are 3 players, each with 4 goals today. Donnelly's 1. Can he break the deadlock and get his 5th? Didn't travel too well, but it's a goal.
Yeah, the old mongrel spiral inverted screw punt.
Stephen Kernahan style.
It's been fashionable of recent times, and certainly Andrew Donnelly is a devotee of the Stephen Kernahan kick. He'd be pretty pleased with this grab. That was all class, no doubt about that. And just a little bit looking back, you saw that Daniel Healy put in just what would be considered just half a chase. And if the Saints are going to win, they're going to do better than that.
A goal each to start this last quarter. Gardner. He's done well, but this time Harvey didn't shark it. McKenna concedes some ground to young Michael Gardner. Sits up for Josh Wooden. To the goal square. Gary! Oh!
Max Hutchinson there just annoyed with himself. There's not much you can do about that. He did the right thing by getting the front position. He possibly could have just taken a couple more steps back as the kick came through because it was going to carry a bit too far. He pushed back as he could, but Gehrig stepping off him, he's always going to have that height advantage.
That's 4 to Gehrig.
And when you look at that too, Jared, you've got Andrew Donnelly kicking 5 just from 9 kicks, Gehrig kicking 4 from 8 kicks. Gehrig's taken 7 marks. I mean, they weren't dominant early, but they just progressively got better. They kicked 5 goals between them in that 3rd quarter and turned that game around.
So the Saints are going back to having Cook in the middle of the ground. Daniel's loose man across half-back.
4 goals the margin now, and it becomes more and more difficult for the Saints. Eagles going with the slight breeze. Cook in the middle, Wooden for the Eagles, back to Cousins. He had a big last quarter, Ben Cousins. Matera, caught by Peckett. Here's Lewis, intercepting a hand pass. Played it very well, Chris Lewis. Wooden. Cousins, took his eyes off it. Banfield. As hard as he could, he kicked that one, and out of height.
Well, it's going to take an extraordinary effort by the Saints if they are to get back into this game. Their body language, Ross, just doesn't look good at the moment. The Eagles are running in greater numbers. They're assisting each other with the 1%ers more often than the Saints at the moment.
Jones. Mitchell. Hasn't had quite enough for today, Mitchell. Into Cripps.
Hungry.
Yeah, who'd you kick that to? Everett, good hands, well done. Healy for another one. He's got it.
Off his non-preferred, Jared.
Yeah, that was an outstanding passage of play by the Saints. Just when it looked from a body language perspective that they were shot, as you've nominated a number of times, Ross, you're not prepared to lie down. And you just hope that Jason Cripps will one day get that mongrel torpedo out of his game, because he had plenty of time to set up with a drop punt. But Peter Everett doing well, hitting the ball onto Mitchell, onto Healy, who once again converted.
Well, Daniel Healy's now kicked 5. If he gets 1 more, he will have doubled his career goals in 1 game. He had 19 games to get his first 6.
This is a problem with Healy, though. He's just playing that set centre-half forward position, and Jakovic has had a couple of important possessions in this final term.
Robert Harvey not looking too good.
Oh.
And Daniel should have taken the mark, but then he applied a good smother. Turnbull was under pressure. He's given it up. Thompson, Young, Beveridge, Hudson. Healy out in front of Jakovic. Gehrig walks it over the line. 14 minutes remaining. There is time left, but it's 19 the difference. It'll be tough for St Kilda, but if they can reproduce the sort of footy they played in the 2nd quarter, who knows? Robert Harvey. Well, you can say Robert Harvey's dead. call the Undertaker, and he'll still keep getting kicks.
I know Healy kicked the last goal, but this is just, he is out on his feet. He's got no run left, and Jakovic has got plenty.
Phil Matera. Oh, he's dropped the sitter.
Yeah, you've got to be a change made there, Jared. You've either got to try and hold Jakovic up, because Healy, whilst he's giving what he can, he just, about 5 minutes ago, there was going to be a chase on Philip Matera. He just couldn't get there. Maybe someone like Subiaco or even a Wakeland has to get back down there and do something about it. Or even to a point push Spider Everett up to centre-half forward. You've got to try something.
Shane Wakeland's kicked it straight out of bounds, and the Eagles have the free kick. Gardner. In short, who's picking up Lewis? He had a 15-metre hole in there. Time for a cut lunch and a cigarette.
Cut lunch anyway.
Schofield comes off for a breather. Brett Eddy on.
Now he's looking to give it off and improve the angle. He comes outside 50 to Banfield. The Saints are walking. Cousins. Look at Beveridge standing the mark, hands on hips.
They're not careful. Brett Eddy's going to sneak up on them. If St Kilda don't pick him up, he's just come on and Cousins too high.
So the punch away comes to Beveridge. Not out of trouble yet. Ben Cousins. Oh, whistle's gone. St Kilda free kick.
But it's a matter of petrol tickets. Can the Saints just get back to the bows and fill up again? Because they're still not out of this, as you said, just 20 points down. They've got to get some goals. They've got to run to be able to create them.
Everett. Now Mitchell needed to win that one, but the youngster in his first season beat him to it. Reid, Philip Reid, a top player. Out of bounds, throwing. There's Philip Reid. And he replaced Hart. Similar position, same number. Looks a bit like it. A bit more bruised now. It's at the Eagles' back. So they lead by 20. You'd have to back them now. Philip Matera. On the bounce to Turnbull. Shane Wakeland. And then turned into trouble, got out of it. Everett over Gardner. Healy. Crowd wanted holding the ball.
Well, they've pushed Spider Everett up to the half-forward line to give that bit of contest rather than having Glenn Jakovic just patrol there. Glenn Jakovic is also there, and I wonder whether or not Healy shouldn't just interchange and go to full forward.
What a congested pack around this until Simmons gets a kick. In a lot of space, Waterman. 11 and a half minutes remaining at Subiaco. The Eagles lead the Saints by 20 points.
They're just trying to isolate one player.
Heady. Pushed out, free kick.
Yeah, it definitely was. Just too obvious with the umpire only 15 metres away. I mean, you can use your body, just nudge, but don't use your hands and push at the top half of the back. For an experienced player like Jason Daniels, 170 games, you don't do that.
I think he actually had him out of position anyway, Ross.
Was that Young, was it? Sorry, I thought it was Daniels. Yep, Young it was. We had him covered, didn't he? He had to sit on him just to hold back and take the mark from behind.
Well, Heady kicked a goal in the first quarter. If he kicks this, might sound the end of St Kilda's chances. He's missed it, so he's left the Saints in with a hope.
It just shows when you lose someone like Lowe and Burke before the game, particularly Lowe, when they just don't have those options up forward they need it at this time of the game, just to keep Everett there or keep Lowe there and have one of the others alternating in the run. Just takes that flexibility away.
A bit of big, bad, bustling Barry might be a bit handy too.
Yep.
Cousins, a centering kick, is perfect football. That's a mark or a free kick. It's a free kick right in front of Matera.
Free kick for holding on there, the umpire's saying.
Actually, I'm sure that if you did a census around the ground, you wouldn't get too many to agree that the Eagles have the advantage in free kicks. It's 20 to, let me see, 14. crowd here will be saying, "Bull, it's got to be the other way."
Particularly in the third term. Was it the second term? It was the second term where a number of free kicks resulted in St.Kilda goals.
Matera for his second. He doesn't miss.
Well, it's been a stunning comeback from behind by the West Coast Eagles. A blitz in the third term has gone unchecked by St Kilda. And whilst conditions have been very tough, we knew that it was perhaps going to be a little bit more taxing on St Kilda than the West Coast Eagles, but not so much in the third term, Ross. In the third term, I don't think it was the environment. I think it was just the West Coast better structured, more fired up, and converted better.
Tony Brown has just replaced McLaren for St Kilda. It's been a real revolving door, both interchange benches. Still 10 minutes to go. Players very, very tired. From both teams, I have to say. Harvey's kick. Lap and a good hand pass. Beveridge told to go on by Cripps. Kick the goal. And he has. Good goal.
Well, again, it just shows you the value of getting the ball out of the centre. No question about that. You get the first touch, push it forward. I thought they might have been in trouble with that quick kick coming out because Peter Matera is basically a spare man across centre-half back at the moment. It just carried him, as you saw there, quickly. Good hands out of the congestion, and they had a couple of players running onto that handball. Beveridge was the one in best position. Players don't always kick those goals. They always think they look straightforward, but in a training drill, it's surprising how many players... And there's one of those Stephen Kerner hands. Just tumbles through, but it was effective in the end.
He had got $1 for every light kick that was made over the weekend. He'd be sitting up retiring. Be a multi.
Yes. Sticks, your fame is improving even in retirement. Cook out of the middle. Very high to half forward. Jakovic taking 3 telling marks in this last quarter. Drop that one. There's a rugby scrum going forward. Umpire's going to ball it up. Healy needs a helper. He's on 5 personal goals. He's kicked 5-1. Day out. Cook knocked it to Banfield. Half back to half forward. Oh, Sirakoski couldn't get a handle on it. Heady out to Gehrig, turning them inside out. Back to Brett Heady. Start. Offline. He's missed 2 in this last quarter, both of which he should have kicked.
Well, when out at West Coast, they travelled to Adelaide to play the Crows at Football Park. Pretty tough assignment for them, but not a bad lead-up for them. It's the sort of game they wanted going into that contest over there at Footy Park.
Saints will be a sore and sorry lot. Flight back on the Ansett, flight back to Melbourne tonight. I reckon they might have to take on a few fluids, Jared. I think we might join them.
No doubt about that. It's been very dry work here and a bit of H2O.
I think yours might be a different colour to what theirs might be.
Certainly hope so. Actually, the Saints have done really well, even if they lose by about this margin. It's a great performance in this heat with the players they're missing. The last time they played in this heat was last season. They went to Brisbane. They got belted by 97.
Yeah, they front Brisbane Lions next week at Waverley.
They've got a few problems at the moment, most notably their full forward, but this should result in a goal. They've got spare men everywhere.
Ziller on the run, high ball, not much penetration. Made the punch away by Metropolis easy. McIntosh, he's played at both ends today, kicked a couple of goals early. Gooden, they all 1-2 with McIntosh. Morrison, nobody to give it to. So he's given it to the opposition. The Saints say thank you. They might still be a chance here. And the mark's taken by Healy, who got in front of his teammate Mitchell. And Healy wants 6 for number 6.
It's his birthday, it's his mark.
Yes, and just luckily enough, the pressure on the rebound there with West Coast players running off outside that 50-metre area just to try and set that play up. Ball turns around, the St Kilda players not chasing.
He's kicked it beautifully. That is 6 goals to Daniel Healy. Double his career tally.
Well, Jared, there's another player there who was one that you mentioned a couple of times looking pretty jaded in this last quarter, but he's just maintained his position there. And there's a couple of players here. Watch this, the pressure from the St Kilda midliners. The ball comes back quickly from Zilla, and guess who's in best position? He wasn't going to leave it for his teammate, was he?
Mitchell was.
Exactly.
He's a great kicker goaler.
Daniel Healy, 6 goals, 1. The margin 16 points. If the Saints jag 3 goals to nothing, they can get up and pinch it yet. Good tackle by Zilla. Cousins in bother, and they've turned it over. That's Healy in there, the goal kicker. Couldn't get it out though. Simmons gave it straight up to Daniels. Wide for Winmar. Down went Peter Matera. Boy, he's not looking too good. There are 36 players out there out on their feet. Jones lets it get behind him. Harvey is there. He couldn't go the second effort. Actually saying that about Robert Harvey. Wooden a hand pass to Jakovic. Centre wing, Phil Matera. Good kick. Free kick. Umpire didn't blow the whistle. He had it poised. McKenna. Why wasn't that a free kick?
A critical fumble there by Justin Peckett too at the ball. Clearly there to pick up. Hudson had run off for Garrick to make position for him just inside on the 50-metre line. All he had to do was pick it up and kick it across. The opportunity lost.
6.5 minutes left, and St Kilda need 3 goals to win. Turnbull does well. Cripps. And Peter Matera is as out on his feet as any of the others. Good Mark Jones.
Well, it's going to take some classic football from the likes of Aussie Jones if the Saints can get up and win this one. Still some time.
It's interesting there because Lappin had run all the way down chasing Chris Waterman the other end of the ground. Now he turned it around and came back.
Spider-Man. Yeah, he's got... And goals! 2 goals the difference. Everett helped himself to 5.
It's not often, Jared, you have 4 players just kicking on both sides. So we've got Garrick with 4, Donnelly with 5 for West Coast, and now Healy with 6, and Everett with 5 with respective sides, and everyone else just with 1s. Great play here by Everett. And they won't lie down, the Saints. I hope I didn't prematurely suggest that West Coast would win this game before.
You did.
I did. I'll admit to that.
Everett's kicked 5 goals, 3, and it's just 2 goals the difference. St Kilda out of the middle. Cripps, a wide ball, a sprint on. Nobody can sprint at this stage. Wooden, you did well. The ball's out of play. 5 minutes 40 remaining. 113 plays 103, and just when you thought, no, the Saints, brave effort, couldn't win, they still could. Cook. Fumble by Cousins, comes back to Cook. Beveridge has kicked a goal this quarter. He's thumped down by McKenna. Metropolis has kicked.
She's played a good quarter. Yeah.
Well met by Young. Into Peckett. Peckett straight up the centre corridor, but to no one. Defensive mark, Waterman. Now Jakovic. Jakovic's kick is wide. Garrick a long way from goal. It's over the boundary line, but Fraser's kicked 4.
But it has been a great battle. Max Hutchin and Fraser Garrick. It's probably been 1 half apiece.
Where's the cone of silence now?
Well, I'd probably say it's about half tilt. K9 came on and gave him a bit of assistance there at one stage. But the Chief would be relatively happy, I think.
Saints go forward again. Jakovic has taken about 4 or 5 marks in this last quarter. He's taken 5 marks for the game. I reckon 4 of them in this last quarter.
Interesting decision, this one, because it was Reid actually handballed just a metre to himself, but the umpire paid it as in possession.
Jones
Shepherd
still got plenty of run. Aussie Jones. Good kick. Peckett. And he outmarked Jakovic.
Good mark. Good Shepherd too. Good work by Beveridge to come around and give Jones a chance.
Poor kick. Harvey. Go on, Robbie. Kick the goal. Everett's in the goal square. Spider's got it.
Jeez, he's going to be on the tightest of angles.
Well, why didn't he just kick it? He did the right thing.
Well, better off going around and
gee whiz.
He has kicked 5 goals, 3 and 1 out of bounds. This is only a metre out, and if he kicks this, they'll be within a kick. Silence signals a goal. Everett, 3 in the last quarter, and St Kilda 4 points down.
It's worked out well for him, Jared, to leave him at full forward. I thought he might have to come down to centre half to provide the target. He did that for about 2 or 3 minutes and he's gone back, but again, the work rate of Robert Harvey. I mean, he was out on his feet when he kicked his footy. Whether he's passed Everett, I'm not sure. I think he might have had a crack at goal, but Everett did the right thing, just sat in the square there, being told by Lappin to play on. But
well, if there was ever a crucial centre bounce clearance, Roscoe, this is it. Let's hope the umpire gets it straight and high.
Cook versus Gardner. The youngster wins. Down to Peter Matera. 4 points the margin. The Eagles want another goal here. Cleverly trapped by Waterman. He did well. Turnbull. Lovell hardly sighted all day. Gets a goal.
Well, a terrific response there by the West Coast Eagles. It was training drill sorts of stuff. It was the easiest takeaway from the centre bounce that you'd like to see in that circumstance. It had to be man on man. It could have worked in the favour of St Kilda, but they went for the jugular there, the West Coast Eagles, and Russian roulette was played by St Kilda at the centre bounce, and unfortunately they paid a heavy price.
Also now the Saints will have to kick 2 goals to win the game, and there's 3.5 minutes remaining. 3 3/4. Ball, say the crowd. Down goes Cripps. It spills to Matera. Brother to brother. Phil to Peter. Great mark. Magnificent mark. He's gone for all money, but did he stretch for that? Last man standing job at Subiaco in the heat of the West. 119 plays 109. Matera. Lovell, who kicked the last goal that might have sealed it. A mark. Play on, says the umpire. No mark.
Just let it slip through on the, just as he looked as if he'd taken a chest mark. I think it bounced and he picked it up on the second grab. But you've got to pay full credit, Ross, to the players.
oh, to play this game out as they have in these conditions is just outstanding.
Waterman couldn't quite capture the mark. St Kilda have to take it the length of the ground and win the next centre bounce. Another goal by the Eagles would kill them. Here's a chance. Oh, Waterman out of bounds. Well, we have 2.5 minutes left. He's giving that teddy bear a workout. Might be the thumb as well. I can't quite see.
Whispering sweet nothings in his teddy's ear.
What can Maxey do from here? Switch of direction to Young. They're working it. Cripps just outside 50. Wakeland. Shane Wakeland's kick to Cook on centre wing. Gardner crunches him. Play on. Might have come off Matera on the full. It'll be a throw in. Time used up. 2.25 minutes left. St Kilda need 2 goals to win. Don't think anybody's celebrating the victory yet in Perth. Cook, a grand final ruckman, playing his first game for the season since. Harvey round the corner. It goes St Kilda's way. Aussie Jones could run it all the way and kick this. Everett's on his own in the goal square. Aussie Jones! He got it!
It was a good chase by Woodman.
And this game is still alive.
Great acceleration too there for Aussie Jones. A great chase by Woodman, but just a little tap. It was Robert Harvey that punched that ball forward first with a quick kick. And Josh Matera nearly closed him down. He had a shepherd put on him, but he got around that. And I'll tell you what, another couple of steps and he would have got him. And that just bent through, Jared.
Geez, wasn't Aussie happy to have the in-swinger on that one?
Just shine it on the right side.
Well, one thing I've learned about is Wooden is quick. 1 minute 52 left on the clock. St Kilda can still win. They're within 4 points. Gardner brings it to foot. Harvey through the middle. He beats the tackle. Goes long. Everett one out. Pushed by McIntosh. No whistle. The ball out of play. 1 minute 39:38 as the clock stops. Adrian Barrage.
Oh, what an atmosphere down here. The Saints are fantastic. 36,152,000 is the crowd. 36,152, I reckon 36,000 Eagles fans.
Still St Kilda with a chance. Forward pocket throw in. Everett couldn't take clean possession. What a contest.
Yes, he dragged it in.
Oh, that's a holding the ball against McIntosh.
How tough is that? McIntosh, the ball came to ground. He put his arm out and dragged it in under him. Watch this. Everett spills it, puts a tackle on Everett, drags it in. He's trying to knock it out the back.
Gutsy decision by the umpire.
It was behind his back, I reckon, when the whistle blew. Well, Mitchell could kick the winner here.
And we see this from another angle. There's a tackle by McIntosh. He leans over, grabs it. The ball comes out the back, which we can't quite see how he did in the end, but he was the player that knocked it out the back.
Well, if Gavin Mitchell can kick this, Saints in front, and he's kicked it. St Kilda in front in the last minute.
Well, what a turn up here. The Saints have hit the front and they're just about on their feet. I just don't know, Roscoe, whether the West Coast Eagles got too far in front and then relaxed. But what do you do as coach? Do you go back to the middle with your set play, keep everybody there, or do you go packing the back line?
Well, you can't pack the back line. You've got to attack now, Jared. You've got to try and win the game. You can't. They're not in a position to save. They're going to try.
I'm talking about the Saints.
Oh, the Saints. Sorry.
46 seconds remaining on the clock for a centre bounce, all important.
Do you put a spare man in defence, Ross, for the Saints?
No, go forward.
The crowd at fever pitch. The players out on their feet. St Kilda lead by 2 points. Look at the wrestle going on. Cripps goes to ground. 31 seconds, 30. The umpire says, give it to me, I'll ball it up.
If you drop someone back, Jared, then you've got a couple of players free for West Coast who can kick the ball over your head. The runners coming out now. They're suggesting come back.
If the Saints can hang on, what a remarkable victory this would be. But they mightn't hang on. Cousins. Lovell gives chase. Beveridge, well done. Lovell in the back. Free kick St Kilda. Advantage taken by Young. Mark to Healy, who's just had a day out on his birthday and kicked 6 goals. 7 seconds left. St Kilda have it. St Kilda in the game. Kicked by Healy. Everett. Wooden. Sarah. St Kilda by 2 points. Remarkable victory.
He doesn't make that decision critical. I mean, they don't play other ones during the course of the game. Then you make one in front of goal like that. When it's a line ball decision, it's a very tough call.
Well, absolute jubilation amongst the St Kilda players. They are just ecstatic. And this crowd is absolutely ropeable, all 36,000 of them. They are absolutely ropeable with that decision. But a great win by the Saints at the end.
The Saints against the odds. The crowd going berserk. St Kilda by 2 points, 18-13 to 18-11.